This game hardly requires any introduction. It has been a topic of a lot of discussion in the gaming community over the last couple of years. It was highly hyped prior to launch, and then when it launched, a lot of people were disappointed with what the game was, and upset that a lot of the features that the developer had talked about or promised didn't seem to be present or fully functional or working as advertised, at least. I was one of the minority that somewhat enjoyed the product that launched initially, but even I grew tired of it. Eventually, it was a great, sort of just planetary exploration sandbox experience, but the core gameplay loop was a bit lacking, and it got tiresome after a time, especially because all the planets felt a bit samey. Since release, No Man's Sky has seen a few major updates, and this is the most recent. This is No Man's Sky Next, and No Man's Sky Next is a significant update that adds a whole lot of features and functionality to the game, including true multiplayer, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And the previous updates, like Atlas Rising and the Foundation update, those added like all kinds of other features as well. There's now base building in the game. You can own capital ships and fleets. There's all kinds of stuff that wasn't present at launch. But anyway, one of the most interesting aspects of No Man's Sky Next, this most recent update, was that they revamped their Planetary Generation, and so the terrain that we see on the planets, and the creatures and foliage and all this procedurally generated stuff has been retooled and is presumably or ostensibly more interesting or more consistent. I don't know. So that's kind of what I want to look at here today. We're just going to go for a little wander on this planet. I don't even know what the name of this planet is. I started a game in creative mode, and this is where it dropped me. And I thought we could go for just a little wander, see what kind of wildlife and landscapes we find. And perhaps if we have time, we will fly away from this planet and check out another one nearby. Creative mode was something added in the post-launch updates, and it's what it sounds like. It's a no pressure experience. There's no survival elements. You have unlimited life and resources and whatever, and so it's just a great mode for exploring. Sort of worry-free exploration. So that's what we're doing here today. Taking some of the lovely procedurally generated sights and sounds, such as this critter right here. Look at those front legs, and then those hind legs. The front legs are very stompy, and the rear ones are very graceful. That's interesting. A very stubby little tail. So, I've not played really any of No Man's Sky since the previous update. And even then I didn't play very much. In fact, I've played very little since launch. And so this is just because I haven't really experienced them. And I thought about playing this as sort of a more survival style video. But it seems to me that, you know, for this kind of, it would be more relaxing, I guess, is what I was thinking, to just do a wander like this. And we'd get to maybe see a bit more variety, see a bit more of the planet, perhaps an additional planet, or like maybe that one that we can just see up in the sky there. I assume that's a planet, although it could be a moon. More of these odd creatures. Oh, these ones have... Oh, I see. These are probably males and females. That's my guess. There's these with the slender hind legs, and then these with the kind of chunkier hind legs. And then the young ones. So this is clearly a very cold planet. And if this were a survival mode game, I'd have to be managing my exposure. But we can just enjoy the landscapes. This appears to be some resources, I guess. Just a little stash. One thing that I've noticed here that I don't think was present before is these beautiful volumetric clouds. I could be wrong, they might have been here previously, but I don't remember seeing them. I think they look really nice. I think I hear spaceships somewhere nearby. There we go. So of course this No Man's Sky next update, it adds true multiplayer. You can play with your friends now, which is great. I haven't tried it out yet, but I'm quite looking forward to trying that out. But as I understand it, it's also supposed to make the galaxy feel a bit less empty in general, with not just human players, but also NPCs. More frequent NPCs, more populated space stations, those kinds of things. This is a mineral of some kind. It could be titanium or platinum or something. I don't think it's either of those. I don't remember what this color of mineral is. But it can be harvested, of course. So my initial impressions of this new terrain generation system are pretty positive. We've got some very interesting landscape features up ahead here, and you may have noticed a few floating rocks, which look pretty cool. Like this one right next to where we started. And in addition to new terrain generation algorithms, I believe there are also new landscape textures. So the game has received a fairly large graphical overhaul. It still looks recognizably No Man's Sky. You know, you're not going to mistake this for any other game, but I do think it looks better. Those volumetric clouds The sun is setting here. I assume we'll be able to see the night sky soon. I think cloud shadows appear to be a thing now too, as they move across the sun. Although I just saw one move across the landscape very quickly over there. Not entirely realistic, but yeah, there does seem to be some interesting lighting stuff going on here. I'm not sure if that's intentional or if it's... Oh, got some more ships. Oh, look at that. So that's another new addition in No Man's Sky Next, I believe. They have ringed planets now. Maybe we'll go check that one out, because that looks quite dramatic up there, doesn't it? I also saw something flying around up here. What are these? Sort of reptilian-looking flying creatures. They look a bit like a cross between bats and lizards, don't they? The creature generation seems fairly untouched. Still producing these sort of weird, semi-familiar creatures made up of a mishmash of body parts and different color palettes. I'm not sure if they changed that or not. They tweaked the creature generation algorithms. This is interesting. It's just a big icy obelisk. But look at the sky, look at the colors in the sky and the clouds. Wow. That's lovely. That's also something that No Man's Sky has done well for its whole existence, is creating these wonderfully atmospheric landscapes. Good use of color. This is a cave. Yeah, it looks to be. We're not going to head down there, because I don't know that we could get out easily. I'm seeing more of these cloud shadows that are just blasting across the landscape. You see that? They're just going really quickly. I don't think that's right. That seems a little glitchy to me. Oh, what's this? Some kind of tiny little quadruped. No, I don't need to scan that rock. I want to see this critter. It's got two tails, a little fin on its back, and apparently it's easily spooked. That's a heck of a night sky. There's some kind of nebula above us that's giving the sky, the night sky, this color. Oh, look at that. There's that planet we were looking at earlier. Shows up much more easily at night. I think we should go there. Don't you? It looks interesting. That's really my favorite part of No Man's Sky, is just the sense of possibility. You see these alien worlds from a distance and you have to wonder what's on them. And again, initially, at initial release, the answer was usually, well, something pretty similar to what you've already seen. It just didn't feel like there was enough variety. It felt like there were, maybe a dozen variations on very similar themes, and that's a little bit unfair. Like, there was quite a bit of diversity in the color palettes, in the weather, in the hazards and things like that, but somehow it all just ended up feeling pretty samey. And I don't know that that has really changed, but the only way to know, I guess, is to play it again, for a while, to try out this update some more, and see if it feels like the planets are more distinct than they used to be. And I'm hopeful that they are. Alright, let's see if we can call our ship to us, and maybe we'll take off and see if we can reach that planet there. I'm not sure any of this works in creative mode, but I think we can do, summon vehicle. The Radiant Pillar is, I guess, our randomly generated ship that we get. There have been lots of convenience features added to reduce the tedium in this game, and they've also made it so that, for instance, flying in a ship is a more rewarding experience, where you have greater control over the ship's maneuverability, and especially when flying near the ground. It used to be that you could never really crash into the terrain because it would sort of just gently guide you away, but I think they've given a lot more manual control to how you could fly, so now you could fly down canyons in between these big rocks and stuff like that. You can see it says here environment warning, external temperature minus 55.2, so it's chilly. Alright, let's take off here, if I can remember how. Not like that. There we go. I'm playing with a controller, which is not actually how I normally play this game. So, this planet here looks interesting, but I'm more interested in this one with the rings. So let's see if we can't get there. This planet's further away than it initially appeared. And what's really cool is you can see the planet itself is casting a shadow across the rings. Now, one of the promises of No Man's Sky originally was proper orbital mechanics, where, or not even orbital mechanics, I don't know if that's the terminology, but anyway, proper orbits of the planets around the sun in each system. I don't think that feature was ever added in, and I don't know if that was due to technical limitations ultimately, or if it was more about it being confusing for people. I think I read that somewhere, that the developers ultimately decided to scrap that idea simply because people were finding it confusing to navigate from planet to planet when the planets kept moving around. So we are nearing our target here. It's a pretty busy space in between, lots of asteroids. I'm not actually sure how to stop this, so let's So we're now entering the atmosphere of this planet with the rings arching above us here. We can fly through the clouds here in the upper atmosphere. You can see they have the shadows. Those are really cool. What kind of planet could this be? Well, it's got some interesting looking fungus trees. Well, they may not be fungi. It's hard to know, isn't it? But you can see what I mean by there's a lot more direct control when it comes to cruising over the landscape. You can fly very close to the ground. Don't appear to be any oceans on this planet. Not really much of anything particularly interesting going on. No structures either, which is interesting because I remember... Oh, I may have spoken too soon. No, this is just forest. I remember that at release it seemed like there were structures quite frequently on the landscape, you know, quite dense on... I mean, not really dense, but it felt like there were a lot more structures than you would expect for these sort of alien planets, and yet all the structures looked the same. And I don't know if they've added more variation to those sorts of things or not. Again, I hope they have. Alright, well why don't we land somewhere around here? I'm just looking for sort of an interesting patch of landscape to land in. Although none of this is looking super interesting. Oh, but here's a structure. So why don't we land somehow? Oh, there's another one. There's lots of structures here. How do we land? Not like that. There we go. Okay. So this looks like a smoking hot planet. Give us a temperature of 60 degrees. And this is interesting. So we've got a structure here. There were a couple nearby. And I've not seen this kind of structure before. So either it's something I did not encounter previously, or it's new content that they've added in one of the patches since I last played. It looks like some kind of refinery almost. Check it out. Oh, that's kind of cool. 3 planets in the sky. Or maybe 2 planets and a moon. It's hard to know. One of them is probably the one we just came from. This massive arch of rings in the sky. That's really cool. Let's see if we can go inside here. Some kind of machinery pumping away here. So this is a little buggy. You can see there's grass outside that's clipping through the floor. I don't remember seeing that previously, but oh well. Some kind of NPC here who seems friendly enough. They did wave at us. So this is a pretty typical kind of structure in No Man's Sky. You've got this one main room. Hello. And there'll be some kind of puzzle or thing you will reveal something on the planet, usually. Some kind of point of interest. But there's not much else going on here. So, this might just be a different skin, basically, for a kind of building that I've seen before. Which is a little disappointing. I was hoping that there'd be something different here, but... And then some outbuildings, it looks like. Which again I've seen before, but just with sort of a different visual style. It is a really good looking game. The art direction is very strong. They added a photo mode in one of the patches, so you can take pictures of all the weirdos, all the strange creatures like this that you encounter. This is a pretty strange geological formation here too. There go some ships. Got some funny looking trees here, these strange holes in their leaves, sort of like palm tree type things, but not. They're space palm trees. And these weird pointed things, which I've seen similar things in previous playthroughs. These are big teardrop shaped leaves. Lovely clouds, look at that. And I love these giant rings above. Oh, we got some critters flying up there. Not too different from what we've seen previously, honestly. And by previously, I mean on the last planet. Lots of them. No Man's Sky is just such a... It's one of those games where it has a lot of cool stuff and it has a lot of cool ideas. And even still, I find myself just wishing there was more. And, you know, they have added a lot more. Like I said, there's bases and base sharing now. You can purchase capital ships and build a fleet. You can build racetracks and share those. And there's just many other things that I haven't experienced or mentioned here, but you still want more. The part of it is that it just looks so darn cool, and you wish there was somehow, I don't know, that somehow these worlds were more meaningful, or that there was more variation somehow. You know, even though there is variation, it's not... Very few planets feel meaningfully different, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say, at least in my experience, and I don't know that this update has done much to convince me otherwise. I mean, certainly these are pretty. It's nice to have the rings in the sky. You know, the landscapes look a bit different than they used to, perhaps, but nothing dramatically different. Again, though, it could be that my sample size is small, right? We've only been to 2 worlds here in this video, anyway. So, there's undoubtedly more variety out there. The music has long been another strong point of No Man's Sky. I really do like it. I think we're going to have to call it here. I was thinking maybe we could go check out another planet, but I think we're going to leave it. If you are interested in seeing more random wanderings in No Man's Sky, certainly I'd be open to doing more of them. I mean, there's a practically infinite universe of worlds out there to explore, and I imagine some of them are quite different from what we've seen here today. And I think I'm going to play a bit of this on my Twitch streams as well. Over the next few weeks, I think it could be fun to explore some of these planets together on Twitch. I just keep focusing on these rings because I just love the way they look. But for now, we're going to call that the end of our journey, our wander today. So, thank you all very much for joining me here. I don't know if I've answered the question as to whether No Man's Sky is good now or better. Well, I think it's safe to say it's better. There's certainly a lot more that you can do and more to see. But whether it's enough, I suppose that's for each person to decide on their own. And as I mentioned, I did enjoy the game at launch, and I imagine that if I get back into it now, I will enjoy it just as much, if not more. But anyway, for the time being, thanks for joining me today, and I look very forward to having you back here again next time.